friends. I'm Karen, and this is the Family Food for Moms podcast. We're talking about inspiration for family cooking and dining. Today, we're going to talk about how to get re-inspired or to a new passion for cooking. Hopefully, at some point, you've had a passion for cooking or you felt inspired about making food for your family. So today I want to talk about if you've lost that a little bit, or you're just feeling tired, or it's been a crazy season and you're a little overwhelmed, then somehow having less mental energy to focus on cooking and planning food makes it harder. So hopefully this will give you some ideas of how to renew that passion and how to get excited again, or how to try something new in the area of cooking in your family. Idea number one is to grow some herbs in your kitchen. You can buy potted herbs or you can start them from seed. Some things that when you come into your kitchen look fresh, smell fresh, and you just know they're going to add amazing flavor to your food. So, how about a pot of basil? Usually does well in a warm area, and you need to prune it regularly, use it regularly so that the basil keeps growing and doesn't go to flower. But basil goes well on so many things. You can use it on pizza. You can break it up and add it at the end of cooking ground beef or mince. You can add it to any kind of pasta. You can add it to a salad. You can do caprese, which is the tomato and mozzarella and basil salad. Then something like thyme is amazing because thyme enhances any meat dish. So if you're cooking meat in your crock pot or in a pot on the stove or the Instant Pot, adding some thyme is amazing. You can add it to lamb, chicken, beef, even fish. It all is great with thyme on it. Rosemary is amazing. Goes wonderfully with lamb as well. You can add it to dough for bread or bread rolls. It gives it an amazing flavor, like onion powder with rosemary. Then you can do oregano for your pizza, for your Italian dishes. And you could grow some parsley to add to any soup or stew that you're making, even to your salads. So those are all inspirational and delicious to have in your kitchen. Then when you need them, you just grab them. You don't have to wash them or anything because you haven't sprayed pesticides on them. You just grab and add or cut and add from the herbs in your kitchen. Then this is a different kind of one. Play your favorite music or podcast or audiobook while you're cooking and set aside half an hour to an hour to just cook one thing that you used to enjoy cooking while listening to some of your favorite tracks or audiobooks. Then you could take a recipe book every day and choose one recipe from it. Start with your favorite recipe books and look through things you used to cook, things you used to enjoy cooking, or even your recipe file, and choose one thing you're excited about. Just one thing, buy the ingredients for it, and cook that from scratch. And you'll see how much the fresh flavors, making it at home, how much you enjoy it. And also the fact that it's something you haven't cooked for a while can make it interesting and fresh. And then add some interesting sides like some fresh baguettes or a lovely little salad, just something that's different to what you usually do to make it interesting. But the thing is, we want to do it without it being too overwhelming. So start small. Then a reorganization of part of your kitchen. So take out all your things from your drawers and declutter. Arrange them in a way that makes sense so that they're close to where you're chopping. Move things around a little bit or invest in a fun new item or a lovely cutting board, something that'll inspire you to use it. Then experiment with one ingredient. So choose something that you really love and that you feel like you've missed for the last while and you'd like to try again. For example, mushrooms. Have you used those lately? Try some with your breakfast. Try some in a stroganoff or a stew. Try a mushroom starter with a stuffing. Anything that's going to excite you about cooking mushrooms again. And then you can be creative and have fun without it being overwhelming. Then one of my favorite ways is to watch some food shows or clips on YouTube of cooking. I like to watch well-known chefs like Jamie Oliver, Gordon Ramsay with their home cooking series because they usually have things where they cook very basic food, healthy food for their families, and they're very inspiring. And just choose one video or look at a couple and find one that really inspires you and then try that. Yesterday, I saw a video by Gordon Ramsay of a spiced sausage and rice, which was all in one dish, very easy, using sausage that he takes out of the casing and cooks and then adds various things and mixes with the rice. And another one he made was an amazing bacon and pea pasta, but very simple, again in one pot, but it looked really delicious. So find things that inspire you that you've never done before. Or think of your grandma, your mom. Look in your recipe file for recipes they used to make, recipes from your past, things you loved as a child that they made, anything that they used to do as a specialty. So that nostalgia can reignite your joy in the cooking. So find a recipe you used to love to make or love to eat of theirs and try and make it your own. Use an old classic and maybe add a twist of your own. And then take these things that you find from YouTube or from your recipe file, your recipe books, your grandma, and start to either pull out the recipes into a new place or photograph them with your phone or bookmark them. Try to gather them in a new place as your new repertoire of what you're going to use daily or weekly for a while. So help it to help you build your new meal plan with things that perhaps are different to what you were doing. It's a different season. It's a different year in your life. Maybe your kids are a different age from the last time you did a lot of cooking. So try to gather the recipes together and build a new repertoire that you love. Then another fun idea is to cook with a friend. Get together with a friend and just decide to cook 2 or 3 dishes each, and then you can learn from each other, see what each other does, have fun doing it. And also, you can cook 2 of each item and give one to your friend, and they give 1 of each to you. So then you make 2 dishes each, and you end up with 4 dishes. And they'll be a little bit interesting, and you'll learn something making it and have lots of fun together. Then you could do some kind of theme night. You could do a taco bar or a pasta bar or a baked potato bar. You could even choose an evening of the week to do that on every week. And then either do the same thing every week if you like that, or try a different topping or different sauce each time, or do a variety, whatever works. But get your family involved and engaged, your kids interested, and then it helps you keep momentum with doing that. You could visit a farmer's market if you have time. Those are always so inspiring because there's such bright colors, the peppers, the tomatoes, the herbs, and everything's organic and fresh and heirloom. Maybe try a vegetable you haven't cooked with before, like perhaps a brinjal or aubergine. Try a vegetable dish that you haven't done before, or instead of putting a vegetable on the side, try to use a vegetable as an appetizer, like zucchini with pesto. And you can add some red peppers on top that have been steamed. Think about unusual ways to use your vegetables. Steam some broccoli and grate some cheese over it. As your appetizer, use the long-stemmed broccoli for interest. And then explore new cuisines. Again, on YouTube, you can try different things. You can search for Korean appetizers, or you can search for broth-based uh, Indonesian food, or anything that you've been interested in. Now's the time to try it. Try something unusual, but try to find something that you don't feel overwhelmed by. I know we're so busy as moms and we don't always have time for creativity and we don't always have time for searching on YouTube and all those things. But if you just try 1 or 2 things, often it inspires you enough to keep you going for a while. So the key is to sort of get out of that rut and decide, okay, I'm going to make fresh food that's more nutritious for my family. I recently came out of a bit of a rut where things were crazy busy and water was off and there was other issues. So I just wasn't cooking much and I had ordered some frozen meals for our freezer. And it didn't take long, just like a few days before it was like, oh, this is all such dead food. I want to do fresh food, fresh things. And so I started to think about a plan. And my current plan is to use some kind of meat on the bone for dinner and then to use that to make a broth for the night. So putting the bones back in the crock pot, chicken bones, beef bones, lamb bone, adding whatever it is for the broth, like the water and the vegetables and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. And then it cooks overnight for as the broth. And then for lunch the next day, we make a broth based soup, either a chicken soup or a split pea soup or a lentil soup, cauliflower, any of those things that have that great healthy broth in it. And then I don't have to put the broth in jars and put it in the fridge or the freezer or defrost it and all that. I just have to take the broth from the previous night's meal, make the soup for that day, and add some fresh sourdough or something to that for lunch. So that's my current plan. And then instead of a side vegetable, which I'm kind of tired of, we're going to do appetizers out of vegetables every meal. And then it makes the dinner more interesting, more fun. And I kind of look forward to it more. So you do what works for you. Then I'm going to talk about a few ways to prepare food to make it feel easier when you've got to cook. So, here are some practical ways to prep some items in advance so that when you're feeling tired and overwhelmed and you don't know what to cook, it's easy because there's something ready in the fridge. So, marinating your proteins. So, choose something like chicken or shrimp or small pieces of beef, like for stroganoff, and then you marinate them in advance in a glass dish in your fridge. So, you can use a barbecue marinade, soy sauce with ginger, lemon and herb, mustard and honey mustard, any of those things. And you can put them in the freezer in a freezer bag to marinate as they thaw, and then you cook them in your crock pot, or you just put them in the fridge and it's quick and easy to cook them. And then when you're ready, you grill or bake or stir fry for a quick meal. There's something about having a protein ready that makes it so much easier to cook something. So having some marinated chicken that you can quickly make into kebabs in your fridge, or having some shrimp that you can fry up in a nice stir fry. You can even do cooked protein and have it ready, either for that evening or for the next day. For example, I did some beef tenderloin, beef fillet steak this morning. And I added some butter and garlic and herbs and cooked it at a high temp for about 15 minutes until it was about 120 degrees. And then I let it cool and I sliced it up and put it into the fridge for tonight. So some of us like rare, medium rare steak, not rare, and others like kind of medium well, almost well done. So slicing it up but leaving the juice over it keeps it juicy, but then it keeps it ready for you to do what you want with later. So then those who like it medium rare can very barely warm it in the oven. Some of us will pan fry it a little longer if necessary, but you can see how it's done because it's cut up, and it definitely doesn't dry out because it's got all that butter and sitting in the fridge with the juices. So having that steak cooked makes dinner really easy. I'm going to do a cucumber cream cheese tomato pesto starter from my recipe book, which is Elegant Easy Appetizers. It's on our website, which is familyfoodformoms.com. So then we'll do that with the steak and the potatoes. I cooked them this morning because sometimes if I leave it for dinner time, they don't cook fast enough. So they also just need to be warmed, and we're good to go. And we have a nice, casual, relaxed dinner together without me having to be rushed or busy. So you could also cook some chicken, maybe grill some chicken with a marinade, like a Greek style marinade, and then just briefly warm it and serve it with tacos or tortillas and some salad ingredients. So having those things ready is really helpful. Then pre-chopping your vegetables makes it so easy to use, or even cooking them. Like if I'm going to use butternut squash, I'll chop it up and bake it in the oven or steam it and then simply warm it again at dinner time, because then it's going to be sure to be ready. Something like broccoli, I'll probably do fresh because it tastes better and it doesn't need as long. But just deciding what you want to pre-chop or pre-cook is really helpful. If I'm going to do something with zucchini for dinner, then I'll get the kids to cut it into ribbons a little bit early, so then it's easy for me to come and steam it, add salt and basil pesto, and serve that. Same with grains, whether it's rice or quinoa, anything you're going to use, you cook it a little bit in advance and then warm it or just let it stay warm. It's helpful. So by about 3 or 4 p.m., I like to start the rice in the rice cooker or cook some kind of starch that's easy to warm. Then I'll just add a little bit of boiling water to the rice cooker and reheat it in the evening. Then a last few tips to keep you inspired when you're feeling overwhelmed or like you don't want to cook. Cook up some hard boiled eggs to add to a salad or some shredded chicken to add to a salad. If you have baked chicken breasts in the fridge, you can slice those and put it on top of a salad. If you have leftover cooked vegetables, you can put them over a salad. Any kind of roast or grilled vegetables are amazing. Then any kind of sauce or dressing is always delicious. If you have those in a jar, some barbecue sauce, then it's quick and easy to reheat something and add a little bit of that. And then something like a soup or a stew base where you've already cooked the onion, the carrot, the celery, and you've got that ready. You've added some chicken stock. Then all you need to do is add something extra to the soup, like cauliflower or lentils from tins, even if you're in a hurry, or some other kind of protein. And then it's very easy to finish off your soup because you've done the chopping and you've done the base of the soup. And also having pre-made spice blends that you like, making some of those for your cupboard. And maybe deciding in advance you're going to do a potato bar on a Monday, so you'll do baked potatoes. And then while you've got those in the oven, you can think about what to add. Some leftover chicken, some chopped salad ingredients. Maybe decide which day you're going to do a salad with toppings. And then you can have all those ingredients chopped and some protein ready to add, or chickpeas on top, or some halloumi cheese, or feta and artichokes. So you've got the plan to make it a salad or make it a baked potato or to make it a taco night or a lunch. And then it's much easier when you have that in your mind to follow through. And once you have that plan, you can maybe put in the freezer taco meat or beans that are already cooked or anything that'll make having those meals easier. So I really hope you feel inspired again and are building that excitement. Go and have a look at your recipe books and see what you can find. It's not easy as a mom, juggling everything, fitting it in, finding the inspiration to cook from scratch, but you can do it. And it can be fun, and you can involve your kids in a way that's not overwhelming. Try to alternate a little bit of a more complicated meal with a simple, easy one, or alternate making something from fresh with something that you already made so that it's not too much at once. But have fun cooking, and I'll see you next time.